Okay, so welcome back to video 3 of this little series on making useful revision notes. So what I've got for you here is a visual way of helping to order your thoughts. Now, we'll on any given topic learn an enormous amount of facts, of knowledge, but you might find that not everything is relevant to the question being asked. So, let's say, for example, we are looking at the causes of the Cold War. And we have a huge amount of information about the Cold War, but particularly we're interested in the causes of the Cold War. Now, as you go through your notes, what you might want to do is to sort them into little bits of paper, the kinds of bits of paper that you could maybe put on this diagram here. The diagram itself, it's worth drawing out very big, so perhaps even if you get an A2 sheet of card, you can draw this on here. And if you put everything you know about the Cold War onto post-it notes or onto little pieces of paper, you can then go through a sorting process. Now, let's say, for example, we have something about the wartime conferences, the Yalta Conference, the Potsdam Conference, and the Tehran Conference. As far as causes of the Cold War go, you might think, right, no, they definitely had a role in causing it. There might be later events in the Cold War, such as the building of the Berlin Wall, which, whilst they are important ways of thinking about the Cold War and important events of the Cold War, it doesn't necessarily have to go in the causes. And if you were to put it in an answer to a question about the causes of the Cold War, it wouldn't look very good. The examiner would be thinking, well, okay, you're just reciting things about the Cold War now, so you wouldn't get many marks from that and perhaps even lose some. So you could put the things such as the creation of the Berlin Wall into the not relevant section, into the green section. Now, the red section, partly relevant, that's an interesting one because there are all sorts of things that you could mention. You could mention that for example, the long-term causes of the Cold War, going all the way back to the creation of communism. That can go in the partly relevant bit because it does relate to the question, but it's not really addressing the immediate causes of the Cold War. And then in the centre, you can put all the immediate causes: the suspicion between East and West, the development of the atomic bomb, the decision by Stalin to occupy Poland and to prevent free elections, these kinds of things. Now, why go to the trouble of doing this? Because sorting and sifting is very important for the brain. The brain loves these kinds of little challenges, and they're great ways of remembering things. If you sort and sift information into the correct piles, I guarantee you will do far, far better in remembering the causes of the Cold War and deciding what doesn't quite fit the criteria than you will by looking just simply in a book. I'm not saying that books aren't important, of course they are, or writing out endless lists. It's a practical doing activity that will make sure that you really, really are able to focus on the question as opposed to simply bombarding it with knowledge. Being able to select the right knowledge to answer the question is really half the battle in history. If you simply just list everything you know, you're not really answering the question, you're just becoming a human Wikipedia page. And if you ever want an example of this, try asking your friend a question. Go to a friend and asking them a question. What kinds of things do you prefer to have for tea? What kinds of things do you prefer to watch? And they will automatically select, of all the information they have in their heads, the right bits of information to answer the question. Get them to ask you a question. What do you like having for tea? What do you like watching on the TV? And then deliberately give them a long list of every food stuff you've ever heard of, or a long list of every TV program you've ever heard of. they'll look at you as if you're slightly deranged, with good reason, because what you're doing is you're simply bombarding them with information instead of answering the question, and this is the kind of thing that drives history examiners completely crazy. So let's not do it. And this is a handy sifting tool to prevent us from doing that.